This episode of Her Design, Her Story is proudly sponsored by Royal Oak Floors, the founders of engineered oak flooring in Australia. Elegant yet durable, practical yet luxurious, Royal Oak Floors have formed the foundations of inspiring Australian architecture and interior design for over 20 years, with flooring products that are uniquely tailored to Australian lifestyles. Royal Oak Floors is proud to announce the launch of 4 new colours in its renowned architect collection, the result of collaborative workshops in which design professionals shared emerging trends, unmet needs and evolving preferences in Australian interiors. We're proud to partner with a brand that values craftsmanship, sustainability and the stories behind every space. Explore the new colours at royaloakfloors.com.au. Today's guest, Emma Coyne, is the founder and creative director of Camille Agency, a Melbourne-based branding and creative studio known for helping businesses uncover what makes their brands truly memorable. With more than 25 years of experience across branding, design, digital marketing and creative strategy, Emma has built a reputation for combining sharp commercial thinking with bold creative vision. Since founding Camille Agency 5 years ago, Emma and her team have worked with a range of brands across hospitality, interiors, retail and lifestyle, helping businesses evolve their identity, clarify their message, and create deeper connections with their audiences. Her approach is strategy first, values driven, and deeply focused on storytelling, not just how a brand looks, but how it feels and resonates. In this conversation, we'll explore Emma's journey through the creative industry, what makes brands stand out, and the realities of running a modern agency. Emma, welcome to Her Design, Her Story. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm very excited. I have followed your business for a long time and you work in a realm of the creative space which I find is far outside my expertise, but certainly one that I find really, really interesting. So I'm very excited to sort of extrapolate a few things with you today. But I did want to go back to the beginning of your career journey and talk around what that first pathway was like for you when you finished at school.
So it was not conventional.
Yeah.
I started a business at 17, freelancing.
Oh, wow.
One of the fun things about I studied visual communication at uni is that you can freelance. You don't have to necessarily have a kit of tools to prove that you can do something well. So as a graphic designer, still at uni, I decided to set up my own business and off I went and promoted myself.
That's amazing.
As
very entrepreneurial.
A creative. and now I reflect and go, that was very entrepreneurial and I seem to attract like-minded entrepreneurs. But at the time, I was there to make money. I had rent to pay and I moved out of home when I was really young. So my first job was creating posters for a nightclub.
Oh, amazing.
And that led to other posters for nightclubs. And then I was like, oh, they need a theme. And so I'd come up with a theme and then I was doing heaps of illustration because I studied drawing at school and I've actually illustrated a children's book and had a big passion for that.
Oh, amazing.
And so it all kind of helped with uni as well and I'd put those projects back into uni. It was a short-lived career. It lasted about a year because the pressure got too hard and I was 17 and, but it was a good learning curve for deadlines because I think when you're at uni, you don't, particularly now, it's the work experience, like being out in the job that actually makes you fast and learn on your feet. And so that helped a lot at uni to just get those kind of practical skills as well as sitting in a uni environment and being safe and being told a brief and given 2 months to do it as opposed to 2 days.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So where were you studying visual arts?
So I did it in Brisbane.
Yeah.
I originally wanted to do art history and I didn't get in. Yeah. And I had a big interest in architecture and interiors at school and we had a really good arts program there and I applied for the visual communications degree, which was like barely a thing. This is to 1999.
Yeah.
So people, it was just sort of coming out in the industry, and I got in because I put forward my model house, a beach house that I'd built in grade 12,
Amazing.
and the head person of the college at the time, Julie Fitzner, who isn't there anymore, but I still remember her name. She was terrifying. Let me in. She's, because again, you didn't like a traditional folio and those sorts of things that you had to, I only had drawings and stuff which were more suitable to art history. So I handed in this modern beach house, which was actually pretty cool. I'd done all the elevations, and then I built a model, mini trees made out of like, the green, dark green scrubbers that you get out. Yeah. But it was really cool. My mum helped me build
architecture and I never nailed model making.
I loved it. Anyway, it never. So she's like, yeah, I can see you've got an imagination. I think let's give it a go.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so I kind of accidentally landed in Viscom, and I would drive myself to uni, and strapped into the passenger seat was my computer. Literally a seatbelt through the handle, and I'd pick it up and I'd lug it into class because laptops weren't a thing.
No.
They came in like the last year of school, and I'd pop it down. It's like one of those polka dot iMacs. I was in love with it. It was like the best accessory. It was better than a handbag. It's just the coolest thing ever. We'd boot them up and off we'd go.
How funny. So how long was that course when you were? It
was 2 years full time.
Yep.
It's equivalent to a bachelor, and mum and dad paid for it, which I'm very grateful for. It wasn't cheap. And I sort of did that, and then I did I did a certificate in business, and I went back to the uni a couple of years later and did some part-time lecturing for the first years. I was pretty good friends with the lecturers. By the time I'd left, I was a bit of a character at uni.
Left a good mark there.
And, looking back, like I definitely didn't do what I was told to do a lot of the time, but I think that was a good thing. I kind of tried to break a lot of rules, and I've kept that going, and only because I'd see the potential in what else you could do.
Yeah.
And so I didn't like being limited by what they thought was potentially the right way of doing it. But obviously uni has a way of, they want to regulate a program and make sure they're measuring everyone on a level playing field, whereas I would always go like further and harder to see what I could get out of the project. That hasn't really stopped since.
It's fed well for you though.
Yeah.
So you finished university in Brisbane. What did the next few years of work sort of look like?
It's a bit of a blur. My memory's not great, but I went to worked for a number of different studios. The longest I think I lasted was 2.5 years.
Yeah.
They were led by really great kind of the last of their kind art directors from like Publicist Mojo and, the advertising great. So I had some really cool mentors when I was younger, and they did make a really big impact in how I still do things now in terms of like advertising, which is something that is sort of a bit of a grey area these days a lot of the time. It's changed so much, obviously, in 25 years. And then I moved to Melbourne, and that lasted 2 months. I got frightened. I wanted to move to Melbourne because it has such an amazing design landscape, and I thought, let's do this, and it just scared the hell out of me, and I came home.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, I lasted 8 weeks, got an apartment, moved all my furniture down, and then moved home 8 weeks later, just going, that was not the right move at the time.
Yeah.
And then I started another business for myself at 26. And that was working I had bikies as clients. I had a portable loo business as a client. Like I've done
sort of graphic.
Yes. So this is doing branding.
For the bikies.
They paid well.
Yep.
They paid in cash. I look back now and I'm just like, I can't even. And then, so I did all sorts of jobs. As long as they were creative, I was pretty happy.
That's
and
amazing.
I seemed to attract more and more work. And at one point, I think at 26, I made like $55,000 as a freelance designer.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I was living
More than the graduate architects were getting paid, I can tell you that.
No, and it was such a like random thing to have happen. And anyway, there was obviously I was not too bad at it, and then I met my now husband at 26. And
So was that Melbourne Take Two?
Melbourne Take Two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which worked out.
It worked out.
Yeah. I
No.
think that's quite a big thing. You often, I remember a friend of mine who moved overseas and we were all saying to her, if it doesn't work out, you can come home. But you think actually it's a hard thing to turn around.
Yeah.
And come home. So good on you.
Well, I've lived everywhere. So I've lived in Hong Kong, I've lived in Vanuatu, I've lived in Brisbane, Melbourne, up in Noosa. My dad was a pilot, so we moved around a lot.
Oh, how amazing.
So I was more than happy to like call it a day and move home again.
Yeah.
I sort of knew what it took to stay, and my head wasn't in it at the time.
Yeah.
So I think, and then moving to Melbourne for my husband, that was the first 2 years were really, really hard. I found a really good job, luckily, in a studio that did fortuitously a lot of work for Mushroom Records. So I was designing for like Daryl Braithwaite and Casey Chambers, and I know I'm name dropping, but like how can you not name drop?
Yeah.
They were amazing. Like all the CD covers for them when CDs were still great. Can't believe I'm saying this makes me sound
I was
so
actually in a
old.
house this morning a client's just purchased and we opened a cupboard and it's full of CDs. Like that's
And
amazing.
it's the artwork of the CDs. They're incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the basics,
item.
Gautier. We did like so many different.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but I felt like it was a full circle from like the nightclub days, and then kept work. Did some weird agency work for Crown Melbourne and some other agencies. I won't name them. But in the end, decided to work for myself when I had my second child.
Yeah, that's incredible. I feel like you've really lived life before you started Camille Agency about 5 years ago. Is that when you started?
Yeah.
So that would have been quite an interesting time as well because I guess we would have been off the back of COVID.
Yeah.
Saying you'd had a second child. How did that – it sounds like that was quite a natural evolution for you.
It was. So I decided at 8 months pregnant I'd start a new business.
Yeah. I think I did that as well. Seemed like a great idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea. Hormones give you so much courage. And the motivation was I was about to have a second baby. I needed flexibility. The current job I had, whilst the team was great, the flexibility wasn't there. Like working from home wasn't a thing. It was 9 to 5 and I had done some very long yards with my first daughter and I didn't want to do that again with my second. And so I started a business, got the ACN and the ABN and hooked myself up. And the first year was insanely successful. I sort of just put myself out there as a brand and it was just me for 2 years working at a dining table with my son strapped to my chest, ignoring my other daughter and my husband because I have hyper focus, when you're just like, I've just got to get this done. Made good money, but it was certainly not sustainable working from the dining room table and sort of ignoring the family. You're building a business and you're getting all this attention. It was like surreal. But yeah, we had a really amazing first year and I went, okay, this is cool. I think we'll keep going. And so I did. The business doubled in the second year.
Oh, amazing.
To be honest, Sarah, I still don't know why other than I loved it and I worked really hard.
Yeah.
But in an industry where there is that many different designers and agencies, there's enough work going around, but the fact that we got that much traction was I would never take for granted. It was just amazing.
No, and I think obviously you had covered, you probably had a good network around you, I'm imagining, and often that driver, when you start your own business, I think back to when I started, you do often have that first client who's come to you or someone who
absolutely.
has said, would you do this work for me?
Yes.
But also a compliment to you, I think you get a sense of people and I think, it's been interesting speaking to lots of different creatives now across different pathways. I think that sense of collaboration and communication is a really big one and that sort of joy of working together, I think particularly in the kind of work you're doing, which I do want to touch on because I was speaking to you earlier, I often think it's a really big shortfall I can see in businesses of being able to, you can't wear all the hats. And I think now that there's so much media and we've got Instagram and all sorts of things, having a really clear strategy and direction. I'm very aesthetically motivated, so I'm always looking at logos and branding is a really big one for me, which is great. So, I've always just loved indulging in that, seeing all the new graphics. Could you, I guess I know it's probably not an easy thing to completely talk around, but I guess interested to know exactly what you offer in your business. I know you've come from the advertising graphic background. What are the key services that you offer under Camille Agency?
So Camille offers, we call them like sort of our departments. We sort of renamed them as of yesterday, trying it
Fresh.
out. No. So brand strategy and then branding are our core and we love them. And then websites, which are generally the next transition from an identity.
Yeah.
So we do all of this in-house and then we offer digital marketing because, again, it's that kind of next progression as once you've built the environment and you've built your personality and you have a plan of how to execute it, you then need to promote it. And so the digital marketing comes in. Yeah. And I wanted an agency that offered those like a full service in-house. Agency has potentially a bad kind of reputation. I want to ensure that is never the case with us. Yeah. We are there to be your cheerleader. We are there to help you realize how much your brand can be leveraged to make you, a complete another single voice in your industry. It's just little tips and tricks and ways to manipulate it to do that. And it's not, it's really interesting. And every single brand, we get asked often, if you have two clients that come to us and they're in the same industry, is that a conflict of interest? And I understand that perspective, but it's never the case. Like we're always coming up with a different idea and angle to sell in their business because it's the individual that drives it and it's the individual that makes it uniquely marketable.
What sort of, do you mainly work with creative clients or are you working with a broad range of?
We've worked with every single industry you could possibly imagine. We have been fortunate enough to work with a lot of lifestyle brands of late. I feel like I manifested interior designers purely because I love that industry and I appreciate it. And I designed my bedroom from when I was like 6 years old. I'd go, beg my grandma to buy me a Laura Ashley bedspread and then I'd do the bedside table and then I'd have the throw cushions and then I might even look at like a mat that goes next, but like it was next level from a long time and I just feel like I've manifested that. So we do have a great ledger of amazing interior designers that we've worked with. We are now looking a lot at developers and builders and architects and property stylists, plumbers.
Oh, wow.
Many, like majority of service-based industries that are doing well, but like yourself, they are really interested in their brand and pushing it as far as they can, knowing that they've got the potential to do so and also knowing that they're already doing great. So what does it look like if they can do even better? What's that going to do for their business?
Touching on that before with timing.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. I feel like you get to a point with the work you're doing, you think, oh, these are the projects I want to be doing.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm sort of ticking along you get a bit edgy after that, what more can I be doing? Or you start to realize you can't actually do all the parts of it. No.
I think with anyone with an entrepreneurial spirit, you tend to wear all the hats because you are a bit of a control freak and you work at a pace that suits you and you feel like you're the only one that you can do that. And it's about bringing amazing people into your business that you trust. It takes time to find those people and delegate, but also lead them in a way, hopefully, that they resonate with so they're as good as you, if not better.
Yeah.
Often, the people that have come into Camille are way smarter than me and they've they've flown in their roles and everything's taken off. And that's where we're at the moment. We've got a team that is really incredible and very, very talented. But their roles are their own and they get to fly in them, and it gives me the headspace to just sit back and think about what's next on the horizon. I am big on pushing boundaries and I get impatient, but at least now that I sit, I guess, in the creative CEO role. I don't call myself a CEO because I just feel it's too corporate. I'm like, I'm a creative CEO and a creative director, you know, in terms of like, yeah, if there's a brand going out or whatever, of course I'm gonna look at it and make suggestions if need be, or sit down and brainstorm with the team. But we all are in the business we all have a collective kind of goal. You know? And that's again that agency model. I don't want it to be a dictatorship. I want it to be very much a collective kind of driving force. Yeah, because the client feels that too. It's not just I don't want them just to want me. I want them to want the team. Yeah, it opens up so much more opportunity as a business. And that
sense of collaboration. I mean, you can see it in design. From that interior architecture side as well.
And funnily enough, that resonates back with the client because they too. I know what it's like to build a business and do all the hats and feel all the risk and all the stresses that go with it, and like that split lifestyle of kids and life, and you know, feeling very far away from your partner. Like when you're building a business, there's that isolation. It's quite lonely. So I can resonate with all of that, and that comes up in the strategy sessions a lot. And like even saying, step back, start to trust the team. Like we literally have conversations around even, you know, how to onboard the team to be present for this next level. Because if you can't bring that up with you, if you can't bring them along for the ride, it's not going to work.
No.
So it does filter down to that as well.
And I think it's just thinking through what you're saying. I think there's that element of probably for someone like myself going from working for yourself with just you to kind of that opening up of, am I taking on staff? What does that look like? What is my strategy here? How am I getting this to work? Where I think that's where that working with someone like yourself can really
really great. It's so. I think that's the most fun
confidence
part
thing, and also it's that. I guess, you know, it's easy to have lots of ideas, but you think, are these even relevant, and how do I even implement them?
Yeah. So
clarity.
It is a buzzword, but it's not. It's just a fact. Like clarity helps heaps, and
it would.
Entrepreneurs in particular, it's really helpful because again, we are kind of the ones coming up with the ideas and then trying to filter out which ones are the ones to focus on, and the others that are just like not now. Now's not the time. All of that comes into going through that brand exercise because you're pinpointing what is actually commercially viable for your business, and you go towards that.
Yeah.
Not the shiny objects that look cool and could be great, but some things need to get working first before you can.
Do you get clients come to you at the very inception of their business as well, or are most people they've sort of made they've got some?
Generally, it's established businesses, at least 3 years old. Reason being, we find we do our best work with businesses that are transitioning to a next phase where they appreciate and have worked in their brand for a little while and see there's more potential there and want to push those boundaries. I think when you're starting a business, which is so exciting, you're finding your feet and you need a year or two, you know, from what I've noticed, to work out what's working and what's not, to then want to invest in a strategy so you are guided based on some real life experience in the business. I think that's really important, and generally we qualify our clients that way.
Yeah. I'm also really interested to know, I would say it sounds like you started working about the same time I did, or left school at a similar age bracket.
44 by any chance?
Almost. My daughter keeps reminding me. I'm like, 41? 41. She's like, you're not 41.
Yeah, I'm 45 in October, but
it's good. It's good. Still early to mid-40s. I guess I'm just thinking about the evolution of media and social media, and everything changes a bit, you know, quite quickly in some respects. But I guess you would have seen some huge shifts in the time you've been working.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, every 6 months, I'd say there's a palpable shift, and then you have your little ones during the month. And one of my jobs, I guess now, is to keep an eye on them, so I know we're steering the ship and our
Yeah.
clients in the right way in terms of, utilizing their brand and their marketing to the best of their ability. You will hear it a lot, or if you haven't already, but interest media is where it's at. People aren't on their social channels to follow their friends. They're there to follow their interests and find new interests and things that inspire them. So your brand is your biggest asset.
Yeah.
It's free. It's you. So learning how to, again, leverage that into that interest media is essentially what we're helping you do.
Yeah.
And it does come down to brand, and it's more often than not, such an overlooked tool of your own to dig into.
Well, I think it's hard as well I was thinking about that with social media the other day. We're talking about a couple of people we know in common. I know you've done some work with a really good friend of mine, like beautiful work, and she's got a wonderful direction, I think, with her social media. I can see a great clarity and very strategic in the best way.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to sometimes, you think in your head where you're positioned and you know what you're capable of, but it's how do you put that out in the world? And recently I had a new client who is delightful, but we were talking about social media and she said, "Oh, it was so funny. You sent me your folio and it just doesn't really reflect what I see on Instagram, because I'm a terrible poster on Instagram." And so it was quite interesting. I was
You were
like,
getting
that's
judged.
actually quite hard feedback. But no, it was true. It was, that thing of actually people do really look at this as an extension of what you're doing and what am I trying to say about myself. Yeah.
Especially in aesthetics and lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just easy to understand when it's visual.
Yes. Yeah.
So lawyers or, an industry where it's more fact-based, or I don't think I'm going to define that very well, and I don't want to insult anyone, but
you're not looking at their work on social media.
No. You're not going there to fact find. So again, it's that interest piece. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So what does your current business structure look like? I know you've spoken about your role sort of stepping back a bit. What's the kind of capacity of your office at the moment?
So we work 4 days a week. We always have.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's funny. I just, when I started the business, had a newborn, and whether I realized it or not, I didn't work on a Friday. I was traumatized from working full time, and I was just like, I need 3 days to just, and also creatives, in my experience, they don't go so great if they're just juiced all day, every day, and then they're expected to perform at their peak.
Do quality thinking. I know it sounds crazy, but often when you have that moment where you're not actually sitting at a desk, I'm always thinking.
100%.
And that's actually sometimes where you get that moment of conscious
I think
thought.
I'm a big believer in mindset, and both the woo-woo and the factual.
Yeah.
But Monday to Thursday, you come into the office, you have a clear understanding of what we're doing each day. It's optimized as best we can. And then, on Fridays, you've got your appointments. It just takes out that pressure and that stress and that build-up of the week to get everything done on the weekend when you've only got a precious 2 days to get that sorted. Whereas now we have a Friday. To me, I stay in my trackies. I don't leave the house. I have my 4-year-old, and we just hang and do not a lot.
Yeah.
And then the weekend is the weekend of just being with your family. I think there's just that balance for me was needed, and it's kind of dripped down to how I run the business. And
amazing.
I have been questioned a few times when hiring, and I just said, you can do more hours to make up that day if you like, but every single one's like, now just 4 days is great. I just have my time, and we have mums in the team, and they have their day on Friday with their little kids, and it's just it makes sense. And we never look back. We get everything done. We always have.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? I remember working with people who had been on maternity leave, or when I started working, it was just all work, and that I think now, goodness, I must have had so much free time. You look back, you're like, wow, I would have come home from work and I didn't have to do anything. And you think about how much you pack into a day now.
Yeah.
People can be very efficient.
Very.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm lucky enough now that I can go home and generally by 5, there's nothing else to do. Like it's clock off time.
Yeah.
Again, I've got a really lovely team that take care of all that and help. And I might hop back on my phone late at night, but it's been a slow process, but I don't check my emails. I'm trying to think of ideas that we can put in, or I'm on Instagram looking at brands. Like I switch on in a creative way that brings me up. It doesn't drain my energy if it is after hours, which is really cool. And that, again, like it's taken a long time to get there, but now that's the future. Like it's very much we optimize our time in the studio, and then if it is away from the studio, it's just thinking creatively, and it's an energy booster, not a drainer.
Yeah, without that pressure.
Yeah.
I guess I would love to touch on that sense of, I guess, reflection at the point you're at now. You have done some amazing things, and I feel like, I think there's a wonderful energy, and that entrepreneurial spirit comes through, and, talking about all these various ventures you went through before you have built Camille Agency, and I feel like all those things always add to our journey and our experiences and things like that. What key personal attributes do you think you possess which have really helped you not only creatively, but I think to be a really brave leader of a business is a whole other thing as well, and I think really inspiring to complement the creative side?
I'm a big risk taker.
Yeah.
Not necessarily by choice. It's part of who I am. So it has probably allowed me to make decisions quicker than other times, because if you overthink certain things, you can often not go ahead and do them.
Yeah.
I trust my instincts a lot. They're always right. I've been able to say that for a long time because I've just listened to them. I think I had an old soul when I was born and had a tricky first 20 years of life. So I've sort of lived, like you said, quite a few lives, and I've learnt to trust my instincts and not dwell on anything for too long to stop something great from happening. So it's a hard thing to answer, Sarah, but
I think that's a good one though, risk taking. I think
I am a big risk taker.
I think for a lot of people who have started businesses, there has, or taken a leap, I guess, in faith, there is that element of resilience. And I think to an extent you have to be a bit entrepreneurial, but I don't think everyone's a risk taker. And I think that's interesting because I feel like I've taken some risks lately, and one of them was not a good idea.
Did it have a good outcome?
No, not what I'd hoped. And it was funny because my husband was the one who was so positive. He's like, yeah, but you won't do that again. You won't, you can't, not everything's going to work out perfectly.
No.
So you have to kind of think of all the things that could have happened. We still resolved it. It was a property decision. Didn't pan out, unforeseeable events. But, he has remained really, he said, yeah, but you have to take away the learnings from this. It's not all dire, and don't let it, because I suddenly thought, well, maybe I have no idea what I'm doing. It's that self-doubt sometimes.
That's a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I sound like I've made zero mistakes. Like I'm just sitting here going, I've got it all figured out. I've made some massive mistakes, and you just do in business. You really do. I've hired great people to help me make calculated risks now, particularly around financials. And I have a great mentor. I think that's been really important. And I read heaps as well about how to run a business and how to lead and do all of those things. So I'm trying, and I make them part of my routine so that I'm practicing those skills. Otherwise I wouldn't.
Yeah. Is your mentor in the same industry or just a different? Yeah.
No, business, very much a business-minded mentor, and someone who's very forward-thinking, and someone who's just got a lot of not only experience but open-mindedness about how you can leverage brand and business. And I guess Camille in the last 5 years has swung from being a solo operator and trusting my instincts to getting everyone to see the vision and push it because you only know if your instincts are right when the outcome is good, right? That it
Yeah,
feels good
yep.
for you. Because we have so much support and encouragement from the people that we work with in our community, we keep going and we keep pushing.
And keep evolving, even you keep learning.
Yeah. And we're responding to the feedback, or we wouldn't be doing it. So my mission, I guess, is to just put a few things out there into the universe to experiment with, knowing that they're fairly educated risks.
Yeah.
And kind of keeping really positive that it's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing. And you really have to have positivity, right? Otherwise we're just dwelling a lot.
Yeah, life's too short. I think
is.
and I'm happy to say this out loud, but in your 40s, you really do drop. There's something like physically that happens and mentally that happens where you drop a lot of that concern about what other people are thinking about your body, and you get very clear on your mortality, and if you've got little kids and all those things, you want your day. I want my days filled with really interesting experiences, and I don't want to miss that opportunity. There are days where you have crappy days, but
I think there was I was thinking about that a lot recently because I was someone who cared a lot about what people thought. It was just,
don't we all?
But I feel honestly in the last 2 years I've just moved past that.
It's so liberating, Sarah.
It is,
particularly
it really
for socials.
It is. Well, it's also that thing of this is my life. You do get to that point where you think, oh gosh, it's going quite quickly. If I want to hit certain marks, I've just got to get out and do it. And you think for a long time you're kind of going up with your career. And then you get to the point you think maybe this is it. Not in a terrible way, but well, what am I going to do with this and how am I going to make the most of it? I think that youthful thing of being 20 looking ahead starts to
There's nothing more motivating than your mortality. But no, the next 10 years, I've got some great mates and past clients, and they're still going hard in their 60s, and they're so dynamic and smart, and they're doing really cool things, and I totally resonate with that life.
Absolutely. And I think you can see it keeps an element of mental health.
Absolutely.
If you're really engaged in what you're doing.
Yeah, and this is it. These are the years you want to do. I write a goal list every year, and you tick them off, and it is incredible when you reflect. Have you ever done that before, where you do the goals?
I've sort of tried actually, and then I think there's something about actually writing it down. It makes you a little bit more.
It's really good.
Sort of
what the team doing.
Accountable. Yeah, because I did want to ask you from a goal point of view with work. Are there any sort of key things on the horizon that you would love to? I'm sure you've got lots of ideas, but.
Yes.
I feel like it's having those goals sort of motivates you to keep moving.
The most uncomfortable kind of goal we have is more events. And I mean that as in because events are logistically they're tricky to put together, but it's where we find our best. We love bringing people together. It's a passion of mine, bringing people together. We did a dinner a little while back, and it was just really nice to sit down and celebrate. It was a bit of a thank you to all the people that have sort of helped me in my career over the last X amount of years, I'd say 10 years. It's bringing people together and supporting each other and learning from each other. And I don't think it's done enough. And I think it's really important. So we're doing another community, essentially an event for our local community down on the Mornington Peninsula at the end of July. And then, because we did one in the city a couple of months back, and we will just swap it out. But it's designed to help people through their brand.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mission. And it's those established businesses that are wanting to leverage their brand because they know it's a good business and they're doing well, and they could probably do way better as well by just knowing where to look and how to direct the ship, I guess, in the right way. So we're bringing in people that fit, I guess, that personality and that kind of persona.
Yeah, and I think you get to a point where I love meeting people and connecting as well, and I think it's sort of keeps things really interesting to be out
great
at a
for the
dinner
brands,
and
great
sitting
for the
next
networking.
Yeah, and I think that those sort of slightly more intimate functions are great as well because you really talk to people. We were saying that as opposed to going to a huge drinks function, you sort of walk in. It's harder to break into conversation
Absolutely.
with people.
And that was the thing we wanted to avoid. I even said, like, do we even do alcohol? Everyone just looked at me like I had a seizure.
Pardon?
And it was like, no, we'll do alcohol. But I didn't want it to become
Moderation.
something that was just a silly, like you just get silly. I wanted people to remember it because it's going to be really valuable takeaways for their business to try and implement. I want to get a couple of speakers in, like even an accountant that can help. Because one thing we hear a lot in business is they get such bad advice from their accountants.
Yeah.
And it sets someone back like 5 or 10 years in how they're running their business. And a great accountant can do the opposite. It can accelerate their business 5 or 10 years into the future if they just know their numbers and learn how to work the business from a financial perspective. That's all relevant to your brand and holistically looking at how you get every single trigger working to drive it forward.
And it's often the thing I know, particularly just speaking from my own experience in that creative space as well, if it's something you're not super comfortable with, it's something I'm very good at sort of, I'll deal with it another day. It's in the too hard basket, the finance.
Yeah.
No,
but it can't
don't
be.
want to know. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we hear
That's
it's another thing that really weighs in the strategy. It's funny what comes up in strategy around like what have been your biggest blockers for growing the business. Finances is up there.
Yeah, and it's often the thing that we don't all fully, it's like any of these specialties, bring it together. I did want to ask you, you obviously get to work across a range of great projects and briefs and meet some really interesting clients. Are there any key ways that you keep yourself inspired or motivated? Like we were talking about reading, I think is great, not necessarily in the creative space, but more that kind of broad picture of business. Is there anything else that you sort of weave into your routine that gives you that space for inspiration?
Yeah. I mean, exercise. I really like to exercise. I know it's cliche, but I do. I think it makes me a better mum if I've had some fresh air.
Yeah.
And I read lots of magazines, so I still like getting magazines.
Same.
My daughter has a subscription to a magazine and she loves it. It's so amazing. Like,
which one? Because I was actually looking. I was trying
Breathe. It's Teen Breathe.
Okay, yes. Because
she's 10.
I used to love. My mum was a big magazine purchaser, and I loved just sitting down. I'd just pick up a magazine.
Yeah, same.
But I was trying to find some for my girls. I was thinking,
it's really
not
good.
as many.
It's got recipes. It's got puzzles. It's got like mindset stuff. It's actually amazing. And I reckon, how old are they?
12, 10.
Yeah. Breathe. It's a subscription. So she gets it once a month.
Brilliant.
My mum got it for her and she literally spent hours in it.
That's great. Because I still love that tactile.
Yeah. It's a really nice produced magazine as well.
Yeah.
Writing stuff down, writing goals down. I don't have a great memory, but one thing I do remember is a brand. So I spend a lot of time on Instagram knowing what other brands are doing, seeing how they're kind of evolving, or they do some random campaigns, but the heart and soul of the brand's always in it. Loewe is a really good brand that does that. Garni's also a really good brand that does that. You look at a brand like Ferrari, they've reinvented themselves that many times over their history of their brand, and they're still a brand. You immediately, as soon as I say the word Ferrari, what do you think? Like
high-end racing car.
Red.
Red.
The horse, like it's iconic, right?
Italy.
Italy. So I'm always just watching everything from like fashion and interiors to cars, all sorts of brands and what they're doing because it's all really relevant. So, and that filters back into like ideas for, and then I muck around with AI and try and get that to
the next
sound succinct. Oh, it's so good. It's so good for admin. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get better at that. You did touch on your children.
Yes.
I know you have 3 as well, which is busy. You're living in Mornington, is that right?
Mount Martha.
Beautiful.
Studios in Mornington.
Oh, how wonderful. Nice to be out of the city. How do you find, I think the 4-day week's a really interesting one, and having that ability, which is hard sometimes, to step back and not keep checking emails, I find really
that's
difficult.
a daily battle, but yes.
Yeah. So do you find that maybe location and also having that division of the week sort of helps in terms of that juggle. I mean, it's never a perfect juggle with children, but I think that enabling flexibility helps. Yeah.
I think always wanted to drop the kids and pick them up, even though I think it's the most stressful thing you can do in your day is drop your kids at school and pick them up from school.
Snacks.
And be on time. And it is honestly, but it's also really nice to be available to them to do that. And I never take that for granted. And then the ocean, I think anyone that lives down there can say the same thing. Like you get the air from the ocean. It doesn't matter what sort of weather it is. It's just peaceful.
Yeah.
I think I needed peace and quiet. I've grown up in really big cities. I have a busy mind. I know what needs to kind of chill me out now, and that's been really helpful. And it's a great lifestyle. Like the kids, they run amok down there. They've got a view of the ocean from the school. Like I had a view of an airport from my school. They have no idea how lucky they are.
I sometimes feel if I'm feeling really anxious about something and then I'm stuck in traffic and then it sort of all just adds into that layer of
I think
stress.
the studio is in the middle of daycare and primary school. And they're both 7 minutes either side of the studio.
Oh,
so
amazing.
it's very like, yes, I'm like I can get them really easily. So it's helpful because my husband's got a 9-to-5 job and it's quite rigid compared to what I do. So it is really nice.
Oh, that's amazing. Before we wrap, I wanted to jump into her edit questions.
Yes.
Which I'm looking forward to asking you. Can you remember any first design-related purchase you made, like an artwork or an object or furniture?
Oh, so many. So Norsu Interiors.
Oh, yes.
I bought a $600 chair from them 10 years ago and it was like everything.
Have you still got it? No.
But I followed Simone Haig when she was in a very hardcore Scandi era.
Yes.
And she had a chair similar and I bought it and I just thought I was the bee's knees and $600 was exponentially expensive back then and I just thought I was fabulous. I love art, so our studio is full of artworks. And one that was a real coveted piece wasn't overly expensive, but just still really beautiful was Stacey Reese. I don't know if you've heard of her. Yeah, I managed to get a piece and it's got like fiery oranges and navies and just unexpected colours that just work and then it's of this like abstract person and she's so talented.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, no, I love artwork.
Yeah.
It's a good purchase.
Also, I've got it's like a little art gallery in the studio.
That's fun though and really inspiring environment, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely not an office space.
No.
I wanted to make it into something that, you go in there and either the client looks around and goes, oh, this is really interesting, or you walk in and just go, peace and quiet.
Yeah.
The morning was hectic, but now I can sit down and be peaceful.
Amazing space to work
Yeah,
in.
it's good.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm interested to know, are there any international brands that you are loving at the moment from a strategy sort of creative or Australian, but just thinking outside maybe your market? Are there any brands that you've really been thinking have nailed it?
So fashion's always one I end up looking at. I've mentioned it before, but Loewe is really good at pushing boundaries but keeping their story sacred. They've got a really beautiful story that they sort of always keep in a bubble, but then they just go ballistic with their visuals and campaigns and everything, which is really cool.
Unexpected.
Very unexpected. I love that. Garni is another one that I think has really done a great job of being quite an inclusive brand, but also really memorable and edgy, which is not an easy thing to achieve.
No. Well, my daughter was talking to me about that brand the other day. I was like, how's she come across this?
Yeah. Good marketing.
I wear a few of their T-shirts. But she showed me this image. It was really cool. But I think the colours, clever.
They're clever, and that's I think what sticks in my mind is always brands that are clever, unexpected, and just have something that you can't quite put your finger on.
Yeah.
I want that. Something that's coveted, that you want to collect.
Yeah. Next travel destination, actual or aspirational? Any wish list? You've obviously travelled.
Yeah, funnily enough,
bit,
I'm not. I'm going to have a quick drink. I'm not a big traveller. I'm actually scared of planes.
Oh, really?
Coming, my dad was a pilot, as I said, and
Oh,
he was
yeah.
mortified that I was frightened of planes. But I am. So I've kind of
I
avoided
kind
them.
of get it though when you think about it. Try not to think about it.
No, and I will just take Valium when I get on the plane. But we're going to Bali.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's our first international holiday as a family, so we're going to Bali in
that's
July.
exciting.
Yeah, we've always felt like Wilbur's our youngest and he just turned 4 and I'm like, okay, we can do overseas travel now that he's a bit older.
Yeah.
And he'll appreciate and that all of them will have fun as opposed to, the babies and the nappies and stuff like that. I was happy pottering around at home.
Yeah. And I think it's also that thing of I try and do a trip by myself a year, either with friends or meeting people, and which I love. But it just allows me to indulge in the things I want to do.
Totally.
That don't necessarily align with my children.
Well, that's the thing. Like I figured Bali, we can sort of swing it. That we have a couple of. I haven't been since I was 13, so hoping we can do a bit of a balance there. I am actually trying to book myself a holiday on my own for 5 nights to just.
It's very liberating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. It's a mindset thing. Again, I'm just sort of working up to going, you do deserve to have a break.
I know, and it's sort of funny because I think I really shouldn't be spending the money on this.
No.
Do I need to be doing it? But you actually, I get a lot of thinking done. I'm not worrying about trying to get somewhere or what's happening over here. And I will often, I've got family overseas, so it's often sort of aligned around catching up with family, and you can just get out and spend the whole day kind of doing whatever you want, art galleries, all the things. It's a really great mindset.
Yeah, just a reset.
Yeah,
reset for especially when you're carrying mumming is a lot on top of that. The mental load, you don't acknowledge it very often, and then you get sick. And then
last night I was trying to get some finishes scheduled for someone as something was going to the washing machine, as I was trying to think about who needed their swimming gear, and I wasn't really doing anything well. So I'm sure something fell through the cracks today.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, story.
This
of
is
my
all the
life as well.
extra things, which sort of weigh you down. But
you do all of them. But yes, a holiday for myself would be pretty great. I haven't done one for myself before.
Yeah. Or Bali will be great. Any favourite creative icons, living or legend?
Simone Haig has got to be one of my favourite creative icons, always, and she knows that.
Yeah.
She took a chance on me, really quick segue, but in 2020, I think it was a week before COVID hit, I went and sat in on her talk at her home when she was in her previous Ringwood home.
Yes.
And I walked up to her and I just said, I think you need a new website.
That's how I first came across your work, actually, because I remember when she redid all her branding and her website.
Yeah, and she went, okay, let's chat. And that was it. And she gave me the gig of reinventing her website, and it led to this whole journey around extending her brand and how she, leveling up. And it was a real pivotal moment for her business because within that 2 years or 18 months that we were building the brand and COVID hit and everything, as you know, people started reinventing their homes and investing a lot. They weren't spending money going away or anything like that. They were saving it and they were using it to potentially redo their beautiful homes or their holiday homes. And Simone's business skyrocketed in that time as well. So it was all really fortuitous and it was a really amazing point for the business as well because obviously those interior clients that also followed Simone then found us and we were able to help.
Oh, that's good. Well. Yeah, Sim's also been, I always really admired her things I'm sure they do underneath, but never seemed to sort of phase her, and she'd always welcome in new people into the fold or opportunities, and she's always had a lot of trust. I am a terrible delegator. I'm a terrible control freak. And I feel like she is quite sort of lets things take their course a bit in a way that I wish I could be more relaxed.
Well, look, she certainly did with me, but I did see it as it was a big responsibility. I just went, oh my God, what have I done? But it does,
No, she's a great collaborator. Yeah.
Great collaborator, very beautifully spoken and very talented. And she has a really good instinct for how much she shares of herself versus how much she shares of her work. And you asked me that question before about how do you get the balance right on your socials. And it's kind of like that. It's, 30% you and then 70% the business. So you give a smattering because I think people need to know who they're buying.
Particularly when it's branded under your name.
That's
as
right.
well. And I think part of that joy is you're sort of, talking about that element of points of difference in a business where there are lots of people offering the same thing. I think it's a lot of it comes down to the relationships and that approachability or what your communication's like, or, I've been fortuitous to work with some amazing clients and build really great friendships and, which are very respectful. And I think a lot of that comes from that, there's obviously the skill set, but then there's that personality fit as well.
Yeah, and we're so lucky. The clients that we work with they're so lovely, and so they pretty much give us full autonomy over the project, or they weigh in when they want to because they're just as talented with their own aesthetic.
Yeah.
One thing I will say with your brand and how you can strengthen it is, and Simone's a good example, is every single touch point in her business is branded well. Yeah. She hasn't left a stone unturned where it's not as good as it could be. Like every single touch point is as good as it should be. That's what makes a good brand engine. And I think, again, it's such an underrated system of just looking at where you're showing up and making sure that they're all really, really strong as a brand for you or anyone. And you can do that yourself. You can actually, strengthen those touch points really well yourself, or you can get someone like us to do it. Yeah. But the point is,
getting the help.
It's just taking a little bit of the blindfold off to go, oh, I am valuable and I am a great asset and I am worth investing in. And, like yesterday, a woman invested in a brand strategy and now this morning she got a call saying they're going to be featured in a magazine. And it's just like this weird, serendipity whenever you make big decisions. I feel like the universe does reward you for investing back into yourself particularly.
And it's almost that forced thing to take that time to have a bit of retrospect into what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Because you're accountable and you've engaged someone, you need to spend the time thinking about it, which I think is really interesting.
Your brand is only as good as you want it to be.
It's good advice. I've got a lot of thinking to do. I do want to ask you the final question because I'm really intrigued for your answer on this one. If your star was a celebrity, who would it be?
Yes, I did think about this. A cross between Diane Keaton, and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, because when Diane Keaton passed away, I was looking at her style. I'm like, you are such a vibe.
Oh, she was wonderful, and it's her smile has stuck with me.
She was just so great, and she was really risky in what she wore, and I just really liked her courage. And then Sarah Jessica Parker because, she's just she's so playful and fun and such an icon.
Yeah, and her TV show was huge when we were
and just everything
in our 20s,
everything about she was a brand. Carrie Bradshaw she became an amazing brand that lifted people up, and you got addicted to seeing what she was doing in her life, and she always stayed true to herself, even though she got a little confused. And the same with Diane Keaton, I just really I like those sorts of personalities.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Emma. I loved our conversation.
Thank you very much for having me. It was so good.
That was so fun. Great.